No. Catherine will be here, but late. Why is she late?
Because she didn't realize it was live until 15 minutes ago when she called.
Oh. But Catherine's en route.
Oh, okay. I would come in if everybody in there is wearing a mask.
Well, everybody in the room is wearing a mask, but
Yeah, but if Catherine's coming in,
yes,
okay.
she already is late.
It's by the way, it's just last year's budget.
I do too.
Yeah. All right, there's an extra copy. All right.
So I thought she had to feed the dogs first and then.
Oh, good, okay.
Okay, good. Huh? I think so too. We can do that at next. We revisit level of operation each time. We do that at the October 3rd.
Okay.
October 3rd, next Monday is our regular meeting. Unless you want to do it tonight. Okay, we can add it to the agenda. Revisiting the level of operation. Okay, so the masks don't, the things don't work unless you turn them on.
Did you start the meeting?
No, we never quorum until you showed up. So now we do.
4 members presently. Yep.
Yep, we have 4 members present, but all of us are present, but
Yes.
not all in person.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a budget meeting primarily, but there are a couple of other items on the agenda. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. So let's call the meeting to order, a little late, 6:10. And why is what locked on?
Mute.
Mute. Oh, so we don't get interrupted.
Well,
So we will unmute appropriately. Let me see, is the additions and the deletions before privilege of the floor? I think
that's
so.
what's on the agenda.
Okay, I didn't print it because there's so little on it, it didn't seem
I
worth
didn't print it either. I copied it down.
it. Okay. We want to revisit the level of operation?
Probably should.
Okay. So let's do that. Anything else? I think we're good. Okay, so privilege of the floor. Anyone who'd like to address the board? Privilege of the board?
Mhm.
Yes. Now if you come up and use the mic, which I hope it's on. How do we tell?
There's a switch on
There's
it.
a switch on it. Doesn't light up or anything though.
Yeah.
I have 2 items.
That's-
Make sure the mic is working. No, okay, there's a switch on it. Hello?
You might have turned it on and off at the same time.
Oh, hello, that's on.
There you are.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. My name is Captain Charles H. Tilton, United States Navy Reserve retired, with 40 years in the cryptologic service, with a top secret SICK and other designators that I can't mention. My first item is I would like to make sure that the town knows that myself and who was the other person? Tom on our road that died, but
Peter Hall.
Peter Moore.
Peter Moore.
Peter Moore
Yeah, okay.
who was not the Peter Moore on Danby Road or Gunderman Road, started a process where all veterans in Tompkins County can get free rides to any place in the county for whatever reason they want. The other one is
Is that the rise for vets?
On Gadabout.
on Gadabout. And especially people who are at places who are not connected to the bus routes can find this very beneficial. All they have to do is call Gadabout, tell them they're a veteran, they'll verify it, and then they can call and get a ride anytime between 9, I think it is, and 5, free of charge. And all they have to be is a veteran. The other thing I have as a part of that DAV service, which is in Tompkins County, I received a health alert for COVID-19 for all veterans going to the VA hospital in Syracuse. The level now is high, which means that they have to wear a mask on the van and during their visit. They have to do special social distancing and do all the other COVID-19 protocols, which call for a hike. And I have provided a copy of that email from the VA hospital. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else? Ted has a hand up. Can we unmute him?
Yeah, I got it.
There you go.
Hi, thank you. You already know that I'm Ted, but since you have your very strict rules, my name is Ted Crane and I live in Danby. And I must say I am rather distressed by the increasing authoritarianism of this town board. The idea that you would not trust people to mute and unmute themselves, I find that very restrictive. I think that you are taking advantage of the Zoom situation to create a, oh, that's a very interesting picture. Nice pen, Pat. To create a situation that does not duplicate what would be happening in the hall. I would also like to comment on something that happened during the meeting last week. I find this difficult to say, but there were some people in the meeting room who were not following the rules that you set down. We don't need to argue about whether the rules are sensible or necessary, but they are your rules. And during the discussion there, the chair of the meeting was markedly silent, and without any obvious permission granted, someone who was not in the room apparently called the police. And I think that that's a very bad thing. Calling the police is not something that any person in the room can do. It should be the responsibility of the supervisor or the chair of the meeting. I didn't see that authorization given or asked for. I found that very distressing. I think that this is a bad precedent. I think you should consider how that happened. And I also think you should reconsider your, shall we say, control of the mute. It's just becoming very authoritarian. You have to trust your citizens. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We have the warrants to deal with.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Well, there's a couple things that, I don't know if they got changed at the last minute, but when I'm reviewing the general fund, I noticed that there's a voucher in there for that's an SW, belongs in the water district, for the CSI water test.
That was actually removed. Laura caught that as well. And so I did remove that, which the final version that's up there should be correct. So that brings the credit card charges to $3,948.60 and the total claims to $12,807.69.
Oh, you're talking about the general fund 288?
Yes,
Okay, and the total for the credit card was what?
$3,948.65.
Huh,
Which is, I think what you get if you subtract out the CSI. Does that look right? It's on the credit card because I'd use the credit card to pay the bill.
So that will be on the next,
Water district.
the next one, next month, next meeting.
Next month.
Okay.
Right.
We do have one water district. This meeting, the agenda has the water district modified to include the mowing.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to do that. He didn't submit the bill to the 21st, to the day of our meeting.
It seems to me it's easier to pay all of them at once than part one day and part another.
Well, wait, I'm not sure what that means, except that I don't think we should make it a regular practice to go back and modify something which we already approved.
yeah. I don't think that's good practice. I mean, we proved that,
All the time, if they don't make it in time for the.
right? I mean, there might be, once or twice a year, there might be something that comes in that really has to get paid. And they were late, but I think we should have a cutoff. And certainly, a
You kinda
couple hours
do.
before the meeting is enough of a cutoff, I think. But I don't like revising what we already approved. I mean, if we need to have a separate, an abstract 19 to have 2 items on it, then I'd rather do that than change what we already approved.
I mean, there is precedent, but it's usually because of a late bill that didn't get included.
Or we misplaced something and then we found it. I mean, that's happened.
Exactly. But that's not the case here, I don't think.
So what are we doing? Are we including the WeMo or are we gonna wait and put that on 19?
But I think it belongs on 19.
Are you talking the entire bill or?
We already approved the other part. It was only the water district part that was,
Okay, so we'll
Right.
pay the WeMo that's included in the gen fund.
right.
So what I'm hearing is approving the consent agenda of the general fund abstract only.
And how much was that for? Did you come up with, Janice? I'm
Sorry.
sorry. What was that total again of the abstract?
For the general?
Yes.
12,807.69.
What? Really?
Hmm.
Wow, I'm not getting that.
There were a couple of things that were changed. I know it's gone down twice.
Well, I mean, I just took the total that was on what we got. I subtracted, the $25 and the $9.75. So that's $34.75. I subtracted that, and then I added in the $3,948.65. And I came up with something different. What else got changed?
What did you subtract? What was the 25?
Well, the $25 and the $9.75 that
25,
were on the sheet,
uh-huh.
wasn't the total credit card bill the 3,948?
Yes.
Okay, that includes the whatever the 9.75 and the 25 were. I couldn't figure it out, but right?
Oh, that doesn't include the 975. So the first two that were there when you saw it this morning were placeholders that I forgot to update.
That you
So
what?
So let me screen share this with you.
That's a good idea.
I couldn't find any 9.75 or $40 in the vouchers,
Yeah,
on that voucher for the credit card.
that's because there aren't any. Wait, oops.
Well, then why would we include that in the total?
We didn't. So if you see here, the total is this 3494865,
Right.
which is simply a sum of all of these entries.
Uh-huh.
So there's no 9, whatever, 30, whatever.
Okay, so those on the sheet in the computer, on the abstract,
Uh-huh.
are they not included in that total of 9,517.47?
3,000.
It's not included in the total?
I'm not sure which total you're talking about.
The total for that, the total for the abstract, for the general fund.
The total for the general fund abstract is $12,807.69.
Okay, I'm going back to what I audited, what I looked at,
Uh-huh.
and it includes that $979.75 and the $25. And the total on that was $9,517.47. So it would make sense to me that I remove the 975 and the 25 and
Is that just the
add,
975? Where's this 975 that you're alluding to?
On A288.
288.
So here's voucher 288.
Were those two figures included in the 9,517.47?
No,
So there are items in the amount due that aren't in the total?
no. This total
I-
is the same as this total over here, which is the
What?
sum of all of these totals up here.
This is a revision. I don't have time to look at like 4 different or 2 different even total sheets, okay? I've got the sheet that I looked at with a fine tooth comb, and I see that 2 items looks like need to be removed from the
So-
total that's on this sheet. And then the total bill for the credit card is added in.
Well, I guess the total bill for the credit card shouldn't have had that CSI line in it, so you have to pull that out.
So if you want to see what it looked like before, I can go back to here. Or let's go here. So there was, wait again. There was this community science, this $206 was removed.
What is this?
This was what was removed because it's an SW fund charged to the credit card.
It should have gone
Okay.
to what?
That's not
So-
on my abstract.
Okay,
That's not on the abstract that I looked at.
so which abstract are you looking at?
I'm looking at the one that I printed off today.
Okay.
Okay,
what
so it
time?
must have been this morning. Okay, and the general fund total was 9,517.47. There,
This one,
yes,
9,517.47.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
you're saying
These,
that 288 is a placeholder. So those 2 figures should be removed from the total?
yes, there's no
Okay.
475.
Right, so you remove those 2, the 975 and the 25 from the total at the bottom,
Right,
Okay,
and then you add in the credit card bill, the 3,900 whatever.
It wasn't there before?
No,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, because this was me adding it in and adding it in and adding it in. And then there were a couple of.
422 and 520, come on. So I'm just saying the total I came up with is $13,431.37.
So you're minusing 3475.
Oh, you know what it is, Janice?
Yeah,
It's 623.68. You took the 623.68 off of that Spectrum bill when you came up with a total.
right. I knew there was another one that we took off. Yeah,
'Cause I see your Spectrum bill here still
Yeah.
says
for
937.
937.
So-
So abstract 239 had,
So that's how you come up with the 12,807.69.
Yeah.
And so that's something, this Spectrum bill, that figure
one.
has to have 623.68 taken out of it. That's where you came up with yours, Janice.
Yes, because then the Spectrum bill came down to 313.
Yes.
because we should have gone in highway, is that what happened?
No, because there was confusion over whether part of that bill had already been paid. So,
That's the part you didn't see, Leslie, that the rest of the board didn't see was, or it's there, but it didn't kind of stand out to you that
so
extra
this one,
623.68.
Well,
so
what I got, I mean, we can't,
this one was minus
can't.
623.68.
Where was that? Where was that voucher? Where was that voucher?
That's
Was that-
about for 293.
Yeah, 293.
There was a
So what was the amount for 293 now?
So the amount now is 313.52.
Yes.
So if you have, so we had 9517.47 minus 34.75 plus the 3,948.65 minus
Okay,
623.
I just,
Is
go ahead.
12,000
Everybody can, other people can vote on it. I can't do it.
$807.69.
You're 13.
I have no, I mean, I don't have, I don't have correct records now. So I'm gonna have to go back and so all this is all clear in the computer now?
Yep.
I can't, I
So you
can't. function
have-
this. That's-
So you have this voucher.
Which was not there before.
It was there before, but it didn't have this payment that is highlighted here as being made. So it was
93.
including $913. It was including that extra 623 to make the total bill 900 and something.
Mhm. Okay, so that got changed. Okay, yeah.
You take your 13,431.37, which is what I originally came up with too, Leslie. And then back out that $600, whatever it
I
is
can't-
from that Mitel.
I don't want to do this at a meeting.
To the 12,807.69. I know what you.
I definitely think we want to back it out if it's already been paid for.
Yes.
Yeah. So it now is at 313.52, which is what this is right here, 315.52. Do you want to see any other vouchers?
Right?
Does anybody want to see any other vouchers? They're all right here.
Good, Pat?
Yeah, I looked at them and I caught the problem with the business credit card. And this corrects what I had. So that's that corrects what I had found.
Me too.
And I'm glad you found, before we process this, that we'd already paid part of the electric. So we don't pay it twice. I move for general fund.
Second that. The vote, yes.
Hang on, I lost my minutes. Hang on. So, Woodworth. And, Gagnon, you seconded?
Mhm.
Okay, the vote, Connors,
Abstain.
Hunter,
What did you say?
I didn't hear what Leslie said. She abstained.
Well, I'd like to abstain too, but then we can't pass it.
That's correct.
So I'll say I'll approve. Okay.
okay, Woodworth,
Yes,
Gagnon,
Yes.
okay.
It would be nice to have it together a little bit more ahead of time, though. We can work on that.
Yep,
Shall we do the other business before we do
the level of operation.
the budget? So we didn't, we neglected to do it at the last meeting, we were a little bit distracted with everything that was going on.
Right.
I would like to go to mass recommended but not required.
Yeah, I see the only option, we do not have an option to make people do it. That's the biggest problem that I see.
Sure.
And I don't think it's fair for people to, I mean, I don't like to be bullied by a crowd because that we can't even do anything about it. So we can't stop the meetings, otherwise we'll never get anything done.
Right.
And we're put in a box, and it's unfortunate because COVID is serious. So I prefer to have a mask on. I prefer that people have them on, recommended, and maybe add another word, you know, recommended and encouraged, you know, whatever all else, and a number of words that we can put on there that say, please consider. We're all in an unknown territory. That's my thought on it. I'm uncomfortable with the whole thing, but I'm also I recognize that all kinds of groups aren't doing it, and it's not about the other towns. I would like to see what happens after the Queen's funeral, frankly.
I don't know. I mean, I understand. I understand what Catherine's saying. I'm not really interested in making a rule fit what people are willing to do. You know, if we have a rule that says public meetings, people need to wear masks, which I actually am in favor of, even if it's just the little town of Danby trying to participate in making sure people are safe if they can. If we have people come in and they and they want to listen to the governor, then there's nothing we can do, I guess, about that. But I still don't want to change what I think is the right thing to be doing, because people don't behave or can't, or can't, it's too torturous to wear a mask for a couple hours. That's my feeling.
I'm afraid it's not just the governor, it's also the county board of health is not recommending masks, and they've taken masks off the buses and transportation. It's harder to argue that we should enforce it when it's not enforced by the county health department.
It never has been, I might add, because it was always a state mandate, but not really.
People are tired of it. People are tired of it, and elections are coming up.
Yeah.
More useful to recommend and encourage people to do it. And on the board, members can do what they choose and protect themselves.
So that sounds like, so I move that we go to mass recommended.
Second,
I think we should add other words, include recommended and encouraged.
Okay. To me, recommended sounds like it.
Well, recommended is something that somebody else says. I'm saying I'm encouraged to people, I would like to personally encourage people to do that.
Okay. I'm willing to accept that as a friendly amendment.
yep,
You can have the language on the sign, to recommended and encouraged.
So just to read that back to you, move to have masks recommended, but not
And
required,
And encouraged.
recommended and encouraged, but not required at any time.
Well, yeah, because we're already at the point where for normal business, it wasn't required at all.
Right. Right.
I didn't know if you wanted to differentiate between the previous policy of
Or you want to say 4 meetings?
during public meetings, yes.
We could add that because that does just distinguish between meetings and other time.
So including during public meetings,
Including what?
during public meetings.
Well, that's the only time it really applies. I mean, the previous policy was only for meetings anyway.
so it should state that it's just recommended and encouraged and not specify when, because now it's encouraged, it's the entire building.
Okay.
So we need to vote.
Yep, if you're ready.
Yep.
Connors,
No,
Hunter,
Reluctantly, yes.
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon,
Yes. I'm going to switch out of this uncomfortable mask.
Yeah, the elastic is too tight on
This
that.
is too tight.
Pulling my ears, I'm feeling like I was
Yeah.
Alfred Newman. When I walk
Sure.
in, it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
I have to find a better mask.
Yeah, my ears is like, ouch. Okay.
I am, for one, going to look for better masks because I want to wear something that's comfortable because I want to feel comfortable wearing a mask. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable, then it makes it harder.
That's why I have 2 masks on right now instead of that thing with the horrible elastic. But anyway, that's my problem. I'll look for a better one.
Mine as well. Okay, so to the main subject at hand here, which is the budget. Our task today is primarily to get organized, basically, for the budget process and timeline.
Yes, right. Laura, what do you have so far? I remember you had asked for,
So we've got, we have everything to put together our tentative budget for the water district. We have, and the water district, I know would also like to be able to set up a meeting. I know that what we're doing is setting up some meeting times. Oh, I keep having someone keep calling and calling. Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. So we have that. Highway is just about done. And we're working on the general fund. And I know that the general fund, we were on a little bit of a hold, but Joel and I kind of talked about that, about it. So for Monday night's meeting, Joel will have a tentative budget that he presents to the town clerk, and the town clerk will present it to you on Monday night's meeting, a tentative budget. That's a place where we can get started. We can get started on it. And I know that and you can start calling in different groups to come and talk about, you know, what it is that they're working on and you know, explain to you what it is they've submitted for a tentative budget. And we can also talk about how things are looking in the general fund. So we will have that. we'll have a tentative budget to you for Monday night's meeting. That's about all I can say. We're in union negotiations right now. Joel's in union negotiations right now. So it's still looking at things like salary, health insurance, which are the two biggies right now. Excuse me, that the health insurance, and looking at other plans, which they are strongly encouraging to do other than the high cost indemnity plans right now. So that's in the works. That's in the works. Both Joel and I have met with some of the people in the consortium, the director of the consortium, and got different plans and different pricing. So that's being looked at, and I know Joel is going to be addressing the union here. So hopefully that'll happen soon too. So that's really where we're at. It didn't happen quite as fast as we were hoping it would this year. It didn't happen quite as fast. We're going to get that tentative budget, to you like right on the date, which is supposed to be October 1st. Okay, that's when it's come. We thought we could get a jump on it for a week or a couple weeks ahead of time, but with the things that are happening and the heavy hitting things that are involved this year, it's taken a little bit more time. So I know Ben Coakley is on right now from the Water District, and I know he's interested in securing a date where the Water District can address the board about their budget.
Maybe Ben could speak to that right now if you'd like to.
Hi, Ben.
We don't have any paperwork on it, there are numbers on it.
This is true.
So it would be better to have something in front of us.
Right, it'll be at a budget meeting that maybe you set a particular date for the Water District, so
Right.
that he and whoever else wants to, do the presentation can come. There you are.
There've been 2 meetings of the Water District Committee already on budget, and it's pretty much come together.
Good,
but-
then
but
when
it
we
hasn't
see
been
it,
transmitted yet.
the next budget meeting, we can have them first.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Oh, yeah, you'll have it all. On Monday night, you'll have the tentative budget from general, highway, water. You'll have all of that. So I guess what we really need to do probably tonight is to maybe set some more meeting dates throughout October. Meeting dates, and then, like I say, Ben's here to maybe find a date that'll work for the Water District to come and talk to the board. And the highway, we need one for the highway to come and talk to the board. I haven't talked to the library yet, and I've got to make connections with the and see if the community council has their budget done. Also, I do have stuff for the rec partnership. I've got a lot of stuff. There's just a few things that we've got to collect here this week to be able to put it together for you.
So what we need to do is get a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to meet, so we should meet at least next week and we can do the Water District next week.
Oh, does that work for you, Ben?
Sure. That would be Monday.
Yeah.
No, Monday is the town board meeting, not Monday.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's a town board meeting, but there's no reason why we can't be doing budget.
We don't have
at the
time to
town.
look at the budget ahead of time if we don't just get it on that day. We want to make sure there's plenty of time to
Yeah.
deal with it properly.
That was only a one
This
page.
is important.
Yeah.
And we can meet with other people as well. And the town board meetings have always gone over 2 hours.
Yeah, I know, but the agenda's fairly light.
We won't even have it. The thing is, if we get it in our hands, we don't have time to look over it.
No, so we don't know anything. We won't know,
I know, but
be able to ask questions.
I know, but if we let him bring it on Monday, then we have at least a chance to look at it before.
They're coming Monday. That's why we had another meeting and then you can come and discuss it with us. Another meeting.
I thought you just said not to do anything with that on,
Not to have them come and talk to us on Monday.
I thought we were talking about he could come and present, or we can get the paper, because if we don't have it ahead of time anyway.
Laura is giving us everything on Monday for the entire budget.
Is that what you said, Laura?
Yes, you'll have the tentative budget submitted to you by the town clerk on at Monday's board meeting.
Okay. Did you get anything from the county, from Kate Shanks Booth or Teresa from for the Youth Commission yet?
I've gotten from the rec partnership. Let me look through my emails and see if we've got, when you say, you mean bills from the Youth Commission?
No, the budget.
The budget.
From the-
Let me look back through. I know I have some emails from them. I will look back through and I'll shoot you an email as to whether or not I have it.
Okay.
Okay?
I haven't seen it.
Um, I
Thank
think
you for that. That is very helpful. That is very, very helpful.
So Ben, I have a question for Ben. Do you think the budget's, if I got the budget to the board before Monday, which I think we pretty much have it together, do you think that the district committee would want to look at it before we present it to the board?
I don't think we have anything more to look at. I think we've sort of done our part there. Unless there are things that you think would change from the version that we worked out with you and Laura.
I don't think so. And I spoke with Laura earlier today, and I think we have it ready to present. So with that in mind, there's really no reason why, Laura, we couldn't send the electronically the water district budget. It's only 2 pages to the board like tomorrow.
We could do that. We could do that.
And then we could deal with them on Monday.
You
Yeah.
mean like meet at 5 to look at the water district budget instead of 6?
And
Or 5?
that was
I
one of
didn't
the
mean to
nice
make
things
trouble,
about
but-
meeting at 7. That we could meet it early, we'd meet at 6 instead, for the budget stuff.
Yeah. I'm not sure I caught what you were suggesting, Leslie. You're suggesting that we have the regular meeting at 7 and do budget stuff at 6?
Well, I think 5 is probably pretty early for a lot of people.
I do too, including me.
The only trouble, I don't want to have people think that we're going to spend the full hour on that and then have them show up at 7 o'clock and have us sitting there if we don't use all of the time.
Yeah, I don't
Can't we just say that the budget and town board meeting start at 6?
Yeah.
And then.
Sure,
if
yeah.
Yes, we don't want them to come at 7 and have us sitting and waiting.
Right.
So I'm for using our regular meetings in part for budget rather than having specifically separate meetings for budget. Particularly when we're meeting in person, I have to drive over the hill for all these meetings.
That's fine with me, as long as the meetings don't go 4 hours, and we've already
Right.
gotten over 2-hour meetings regularly.
Yeah, we did pretty well last time. We were like
No, we were over.
15 minutes over.
We were over, right, and that didn't
And that was
count.
with all the.
We might,
Say again?
we might need to have a couple hour sessions, whether it's before a board meeting or on a different day when when we get closer to needing to
Right.
to finalize it.
Right.
Because it
and-
doesn't work out to do it during the middle of it, during a meeting. But having like Ben or somebody, from the community council, or somebody presenting, or discussing what's in their budget, or answering questions. I mean, that we could easily stick in a meeting, but hashing out the final budget.
Right, I
is-
mean, I agree, that we have to block out time to do it. And I would not be averse to doing that as a tack on, before the meeting or after the meeting, preferably before, I think. So that we're not constrained to be doing everything in 2 hours.
I'd rather that we start out with Laura's presentation, see what we've got, and then schedule those people that want to come so that if they can be, we don't need to have 5 groups at one.
Right.
And maybe it doesn't have to take that long. A lot of presentations don't take very long.
Yeah,
Sure that.
And then as we get into the budget season, then Laura's going to be able to say, look, we have to have more meetings because we're piling up with things and we need to schedule.
We
instead
are
of
in the
doing
bud-
it.
We're in the budget season now.
Oh, we're in the budget.
I know,
We
I know,
have
but
them
we
on-
haven't even seen it yet. And when we get to see it and all is here, Laura's gonna have a better clue of when, you know, what we're stuck on too.
You're gonna have a better idea if I give a presentation, if we give a presentation on Monday night, when
Good.
it's submitted to you. You know how I go through and with a presentation and show you what would that look like for a tax rate right now? So at least you can see where you're sitting, where you're at with the budget you have in front of you. And then you can just, okay, who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to the water district? You want to have the highway in to explain and go over their budget? Is there anything that looks different about the library that you think, or maybe the person who runs the library would like to address the board about something? Or maybe there's a historian or somebody would like to, what do you think about the pond? You know, we should look at that, look at the pond as a whole separate thing. I'm not sure who you'd have come in, but at least establish some kind of a plan for what you're budgeting for in there. You know, some of those different groups. But some of them, you know, can be there. We can do it during board meetings.
We can, I think enough of
You're gonna see how close you are. once
deal with
it-
it, to have the general presentation of the budget on Monday.
Right.
And the water district, which won't take that long, I don't think, especially if I get it to everybody ahead of time. That's enough, I think, for one meeting, and then we can schedule on Monday what we're going to do, you know,
Right,
who we're going to deal with and when.
right. Yeah.
I
Just
think-
reluctant to set up a whole lot of the meetings so much. I know we're in the budget season, but I'd rather wait till Monday to see.
Right,
Send
so
you-
we have,
I will
have-
send
let's
out
go.
to everyone the water district budget, tentative budget. So you guys will all get that electronically, the water district tentative budget. You can start looking at that. I'll get that out tomorrow morning. You guys can all start looking at that and be prepared with questions when Ben comes, Ben or whoever else from the water district is going to be there for Monday.
Cool.
Now, is this something that you guys plan on putting at the kind of the beginning of the meeting? So that these groups and these people who come
Yeah.
to present, they can go if they need to, when that's,
Yes.
that they're not sitting through a couple hours.
They don't have to suffer through a whole meeting.
And that, right, and then it doesn't seem so rushed.
Yeah.
Because I think people start feeling rushed at the end of the meetings.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't want to be, if you don't want to,
are we suggesting deviating from our normal order of the agenda in order to deal with the budget? You might pull it out and pull it up to the top.
Pull it up to the
Is
top.
that what's being suggested?
Makes sense to do it comparable to public hearings.
Well, that would pull it up front, all right,
Correct.
before privilege of the floor even. Is that what you want to do?
I don't know, that works, I mean, that could work. Gets presented, people have a chance to hear it, and say why or whatever, and then we have the information, we hear from them, and we keep the notes on what the public responds, and then we have that for when we have to get to the actual vote on the whole budget.
Mhm.
Sorry, I wasn't talking into the microphone.
So,
Didn't we have this discussion, and didn't we have a place to, I have to go and look at my procedures. But, you know, where people who come to present or to get interviewed or for a position or whatever, that they can, I forget where it was. I'd have to look at the
it's towards the
sheet, but it
front.
was, I think there was privilege of the floor, and then it was, you know,
It's towards the top.
let people talk, and so they
Yeah.
can leave if they want to.
Right,
I think it's with reports and presentations, which is fairly high in the agenda, but it's after privilege of the floor.
Yeah. I think so.
Teresa, are you remembering something?
No, Joel, I would just like to say that if you could let the court know when you would be discussing the budget for the court, I would like to be present for that as well.
Of course.
That's all. Laura, you have our proposed budget, correct?
Yes, you sent it over.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Wondering whether we
I
did.
haven't had much of a chance to look at it, but I did see that you sent it over and I appreciate that. Thanks.
So is it okay to do it under, within that, where it fits into the order? Just,
It works for me.
reports is fairly high up.
Yeah. That works.
So Ben, did you think that Monday night sounded good to you? For the water district? Okay.
Thanks, Janice. Yeah, Monday is fine for us. We could do other times during the week as well.
Okay.
At 6. Cool.
Yeah, meeting starts at 6. If we do it in the, where it'll follow the privilege of the floor and the public hearing, there's a public hearing, but neither of those should take very long, depending on how many people are here and what they want to comment on. But typically not too long.
All right, thank you.
I
Okay,
have to say, it's been a pleasure working with the water district on this. They're a great group. The things that they're looking at and thinking of.
yeah, I'm very pleased with the with the seriousness with which the Water District Committee has approached the whole budget process. You have a good working group.
It's a good group.
Yeah, it is. Do we want to talk about who we might have when? Last year, I think it was last year, we met every Monday throughout the month of October.
Well, if we want to decide that you're suggesting that we plan right now who we ask first so they're prepared, is that what the question is?
That's what I'm thinking, is it might be good to have a list of what the various groups are that we want to talk to.
Yeah.
And when we might.
And we'll get that when we get the budget, so it makes more sense to do that on Monday when we have all the details in front of us.
Well, the budget will tell you what the numbers are, but it won't tell you when we want to talk to whom.
No, that's why we do that when we have the numbers.
Why can't we
Why would it
figure?
make any difference?
Yeah. How many groups are we talking about?
Well, that's the first question.
Yeah, so why don't, if we can answer that question, that would be helpful.
Let's make a list.
I don't have I didn't,
The highway, now court, the court has wanted, water district.
I always like hearing from the historian and the library. I mean, and it can be short. It can be 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Court. What about the recreation partnership?
Yeah,
and we had the county for the youth commission budget.
Mhm.
I know they're prepared, either Jamie and Kate or somebody will come.
Mhm.
They're already prepared to do that.
We got community council. We have a group. It's Danby seniors, community council, park association.
Jennings,
Well, Jennings is a little town program, but it could be lumped together.
it doesn't have to
The
be.
park association, that's a good.
Huh?
What did you say, Laura?
Yeah, the park association.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't understand right?
Park Association.
No,
Park
I already have
Association,
that.
I'm
I
sorry.
got that.
DCPA, Danby Community
Okay,
Park.
I already have that part. I just can't understand on that, Mike. It's
It's hard
very,
to- it is hard
very
to-
hard for me. Because I cannot understand on that thing.
The speaker is loud and hard to understand.
Yep.
So water, highway, county youth commission, community council, the seniors, the park association, the court. And maybe the library and the
The historian of the library is kind of,
historian.
what about our departments? Code, planning, the clerk.
I was just gonna ask about that if you wanted us to present as well, which I think would be a good idea.
I mean, there'll be something in the budget, but if you want to make a case, I mean, there'll be something in the budget for almost all of these.
Now, the water district and the highway, we could do that like at a board meeting. There's so many people interested in here. We could do that well, but we don't have very many board meetings going on here, do we? Maybe the first board meeting in October, you'll have the water district, the second one, maybe the highway. And then we can fit in the other ones.
Around it, yeah.
Yeah, fit in the other ones around it, like the talk with the seniors, see if they're interested in coming and see what they're, thinking of, the seniors, the park association, the court, library and history. Heck, a lot of those can be done in one meeting, like a one Monday night meeting. Because some of them are pretty short, but we should have a nice, good.
We could probably do most of the organization.
And all of our different building amounts, phones, central communication line, a bunch of different things of how we're kind of restructuring things a little bit in through there. So that will make more sense if we have a night where we can do that. Then, of course, we've got to have a night where you really see the bottom line of everything that you've put together so that you can start deciding and seeing right where you're at, whether you need to cut things, some things, increase some things, where you're going to move things around to get to where it is that, and I'm sure as you go, the board will start to determine where they want to be. Where do we really want to be? How much of an increase in the levy is really where we want to be this year? And that'll start to be established as you see some of this stuff.
The board will have the big picture on Monday with the tentative budget.
Yes, you're going to have the big picture of where it stands at that point.
And so that'll be the basis for a discussion about, is that in the ballpark or do we have serious problems with that?
Yes.
I mean, I can already point to a couple of things that are going to be problematic. And one of which is we just added $200,000 to the highway fund for paying for these trucks that we just bought.
But that's not
We're retiring $100,000 that annual payment that we're making before, but we have to come up with
another
$100,000 or so.
Yes.
What about the solar thing?
Yeah, and then that's another thing we need to plan for.
Yeah.
And I still haven't determined when that comes due. Do we know? We should know, Laura, when the.
I don't know. I know that you were saying you were getting a hold of the contract. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what year that comes up.
I
To
think
be
it's
honest,
2 or 3 years.
we don't know. But we
That's-
should look at that contract.
More than two,
Got
because
it.
I think it was supposed to be 5 years and we're already well into it.
It was supposed to be 10 years.
Was it 10?
Yes, that's what I remember.
We need to.
The original plan was to set up a reserve
Yeah,
and to start that reserve with between 50 and 60,000 out of our fund balance. When we first entered into the contract, that was the original plan.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
I
we
think
didn't do
maybe
it.
we got to thinking, all right, what if you get to the end of this and purchasing it is not what you want to do? Okay, so maybe if you don't set it up in an actual reserve and you just set it aside and then budget for more being set aside.
It hasn't been set aside.
No, it hasn't.
Not really. It hasn't been set aside. Is it there? Is it there? Yes. Do we have it in our fund balance to set aside? Yes. We choose to do that.
If we want to run them.
And I'll fill you in Monday night about all of that, but we're just,
Down some more. Yeah. We need to find that contract, and find out when we're actually having to deal with this.
I don't know where it is.
Neither do I.
I was never involved in it, really. I wasn't never involved in the negotiations of it or anything like that, other than when it was done and said, here, here are these bills, so to speak. So, but yeah, we need to get a hold of that or make a phone call. Make a phone call. Even
That's
find
the
out.
alternative, is to ask them when it's coming.
I know, that's the alternative. Hey, guys, can you
That's a
shoot
good
us
idea.
over? And I can do that. If I know what company I'm really looking at, I can do that. Hey, I'm the accountant. Could you shoot us over this? We want to verify that we hit. I know how to go about it so that we.
I should, Mary Ann should know whether we've got this sitting around in our archive someplace.
She remembers it. Yeah, sure. So there's all these different pieces.
That, and then there's the,
And add, once you get this tentative budget Monday night, you're gonna look at things, okay, we really need to add this type of thing. We maybe need to take some of this out. Where are we at and what can we do? And I think sometimes it comes down to when we're looking at it, what are the priority things? What are the things we have to have? And that's one of the things you have to start with. What are the increases that are definitely, absolutely going to happen here? We know that energy bills are going to be more. We know that our fuel and our diesel fuel and our fuel are going to be more. We have to have it. So it's looking at those things and then sorting it out, putting it in a methodical way. What's the next priority and what's next? And how can we fit this in to be what is an acceptable increase to the board? And that's what I sit and listen to as we go through the process. Listen to what your thoughts are and try to see where the board is with that. And that helps me also to know how to go about and what to put together. Options. What can we do with options?
the other thing that isn't plugged in yet is any capital planning.
Well, that's great. I was workplace violence also.
Yeah, which is part of capital planning too.
Right.
And then you can see how much of that you want to put into that as you go and see where you're at.
Right. It'd be good, but we're not there, to have a multi-year capital planning plan. So that we would be looking at the budgetary implications and, over what period of time do we want to implement, these plans that we have. Laura, when in budget preparation, will you do the same 5-year look back that you did last time?
Yes,
Because that was very helpful.
I'll set it up the same way that I did last year with that 5-year look back. Yes.
That was the board's request last time, is that we look back 5 years so we could see the progression.
I
of things.
actually have the
Yeah.
water district done right now with the 5-year tentative budget set with a 5-year look back.
Cool.
A 4-year look, yeah.
I
Back
think
to
it's 4 years, actually, but, yeah. So that's backward looking. We have to look both backwards and
23, 19, 20, 21, 22. And then we're going into 23, so.
Judith is right, it should be in the context of both looking back and looking forward. There should be a multi-year financial plan.
But then again, sometimes in some of these things, the look back isn't realistic because times have changed.
Oh, that's right.
Things so much, there's inflation, a lot of things that you're gonna be looking at coming and things that we're gonna need to anticipate that don't necessarily rely on those past figures because it's so different now. It's not comparing apples to apples to when you're looking at some of this stuff and what things are like.
And increased costs of doing business or
Yes,
the last year or two. And the kind of inflation that people are experiencing also means that the kind of increases that we should be budgeting for in terms of salaries needs to take that into account.
and I always say that.
But seeing costs increase year over year, close to 9%. Over 8%, and that's what we already experienced, so the 2% that we gave them last year didn't come close to covering what people's increased costs are. So I think we have to be, we need to put more in the budget, so. I'm
that
proposing.
fine line we're going through the fine line of what all the things that we want, that we think we need to, that we're gonna do, okay? And trying to come up with the money for them. And then the other thought process, how can we do what we need to do with what we have? So that's two different things. How can we do what we need to do with what we have? Or what can we do with what we have to stay within certain parameters? Or what's all this other stuff we want to do? And then are we just going to rush in and just keep trying to find the money for all of that? And it's that fine line that you come to as you go through it. And it'll all unfold. It'll all unfold.
You'll all what?
It'll all unfold as we go through the process.
Yes, right.
Do I drive you guys crazy with the stuff I say? I don't really mean to, but it is the process. It is what will happen as we go through it.
Well, I'd like the process to start instead of hashing it out right now. When we're going to get to it next week, and I think that's really helpful.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your efforts, Laura. And if we can have if we have a list with all those, I wrote it handwrite, but we all wrote everything in a different order. And then once we get the list of the people, we can decide which ones might have the most that they need to say, and we list them in order, and then we don't mix it up so that there's 3 10-minute people in one night.
Right.
But
And my pleasure, by the way. My pleasure doing this. Call me anytime, anybody. Questions, thoughts, ideas, stuff that you want to see. Anything.
yeah. And if there's some thought that somebody's going to have, that their budget is so out of, that they expect that we are going to feel that their budget is so far out of range that they're preparing a big speech, but that's not really the case. Maybe we have a working back and forth where people understand that without coming with, for instance, if the youth commission were afraid that they were not going to get the money, they might come for planning to have an hour speech when we don't even need it. In other words, sometimes people are worried that their budget will be not accepted. So they come with a great big long plan, and they don't need it.
A pitch for why.
Right, a pitch.
Yeah.
So is there any way, have you seen, if we were to look ahead and say, this particular budget, for instance, the issue for the highway, that needs a pitch, or somebody else might not need a pitch, big pitch.
Right.
I know that was probably rambling.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Say the library is just a small amount increase that they want, or maybe they want to stay the same or whatever. So maybe they don't even need to come. You don't need, unless they want, they could come to another board meeting if there's other things they want to talk about too. But if whatever they have decided on for a dollar amount, if that looks reasonable and looks like the right thing,
Right.
Well, I mean, we could have, right, okay. I thought was going to be problematic, but I can't now remember which one it is. Well, the Park Association last year didn't submit, they really didn't indicate that they had much of, they put a budget together after the budget season, basically, and then they were short.
Right.
So, I mean, they need to get us something that realistically projects what they need.
Right.
Account instead of trying to put something together after the fact.
Right.
Maybe one meeting, maybe it's not on a Monday. Is there any other days? Some weeks could we have 2 meetings? I'm thinking that like our town clerk and our planner and a code enforcement officer, the other people within there need to have some mind, maybe to talk about, to have something set up for them so that they can come and.
Yeah.
It may or may not feel like there's a need, depending on whether what's in the budget is agreeable or not.
Right.
Everybody should be allowed the option to come.
Yeah, right, exactly. But they should be also given the option not to come.
Yeah, he said that they may or may not feel there's a need for them to speak. They may make that decision.
Yeah, no, I don't think. So, I mean, we'll put together, Laura, the tentative budget. And then if what's in it is agreeable, then, the people who are affected might not have anything to say, unless we want to cut it or something, in which case they might want to defend it.
Right.
But if they felt that it seriously funds them, then they can make a pitch for why they should get more than what we put in.
Yep.
And they should be aware
Yeah, everybody
that
needs
at
to
the
know.
end, we have to look at the whole thing as a whole.
Right, of
Maybe
course.
There may be cuts at the end.
There's always that risk. But whether there will be or not depends on how we approach the whole thing. But so we need to look at the big picture. And that's what the tentative budget is a starting place for.
Yeah.
After the presentation on Monday night, you'll have that mindset of where you're at and what it's looking like.
And whether that's a good place to be working from or whether it's like totally unacceptable for whatever reason.
I
And
do have
maybe
to
Laura,
say
when you-
assessments are way up. Assessments are way up this year. And that does.
But it's all about the levy.
Yeah, you're looking at how much you have with your levy, then you're looking at how much you're spreading. And it's
If everybody's assessment went up the same, but they didn't.
but they didn't. That's the thing. Yeah.
The thing, if everybody's assessment went up the same percentage, then the tax rate would simply adjust down, but we raise the same amount of money. So the levy's the thing. We have sometimes played games in the past of saying, well, with the tax rate staying the same, the tax rate's going down, when the levy is increasing by a meaningful amount, and that's the money you're raising. The only way we actually get an expansion in real dollars of the tax base is when we have new construction and new properties or built additions. Somebody builds a house or starts a business and adds value that wasn't there before.
We do have the candle factory coming in.
Yes, I'm not sure how much that's going to add.
And maybe we'll get a cannabis store.
Which?
A cannabis store
Oh, yes.
in the candle factory.
Well, we know
None of which
we're a
affects this
cannabis
year's
friendly
budget.
place. What's that?
None of which affects this year's budget.
Probably not. Well, as I say, the thing to focus on is the levy. How much of an increase in amount of money that we're going to be raising by taxes. Yeah.
Leslie, it looked like you were trying to say something before.
I was just gonna ask Laura if, as she gets budgets in for different, if she could just send, send us a copy, as they come in.
Yeah, sure. For instance,
know,
when I get the highway
That way,
wrapped up, when we
yeah.
get the highway wrapped up, we could send that over
Yeah,
and start taking a
just
look at
as they
what
come in, yeah.
that's gonna look like.
You're talking about the budget request, Leslie?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Because we get them for we have one for well, we shared it last time, the Cuba Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization gave us their request. I don't remember, I don't think I've heard from the Community Science Institute yet. Did we hear from CSO?
Okay.
I think they sent us something, Joel.
I think I kind of think they did.
They sent us, yeah, but,
I could share that.
Okay.
yeah.
Alrighty.
We
Are we
haven't
done?
We haven't heard from the seniors, the Park Association, Community Council, or.
Yeah, we're
WCA.
just saying the same things over and over.
No, I think we could,
think we're done.
I think we're basically done with what we set out to do.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
so the
that's a
work
good point.
begins. The work begins.
Oh, wait a
Yeah,
minute. Joel,
yeah,
could you
indeed.
sign those checks? Could you sign the checks that I left? Janice has some checks and
I'm
then
gonna say I
give,
didn't see any, but I would be happy to sign them if they can.
Yes, I have them.
yes, okay, great. Great.
Okay, all right. Okay, meeting adjourned.
You,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks, Laura.
Bye.
Thanks.
Guys.
Bye. Watch out for the snakes.
Yeah.
That's so
Okay. See you later.